We have the battle of the rookie quarterbacks as Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders are taking on Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons. This is your Week 17, 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start with the home team, the Washington Commanders. Huge playoff implications for both teams. I'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons when I talk about their side of things. But this game for the Washington Commanders, if they win this game, they make the NFL playoffs. They could possibly go out there and sit their starters for the last game of the season. But the best way for them to go out there and get extra rest is to take care of business against the Atlanta Falcons. And they took care of business last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, Jalen Hurts did get injured early in the game with a concussion, but Jaden Daniels looked like a superstar. 5 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the day, but he also led the team in rushing with 81 rushing yards. In this matchup against the Atlanta Falcons, you have to get the run game going. The rushing department has not been the same since Austin Eckler went down with that concussion a few weeks ago on a special teams play against the Dallas Cowboys. When I look at this situation for the Washington Commanders, you don't want to be one-dimensional against the Atlanta Falcons. They're starting to put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. Their defense has played better since they had that tough loss against the Denver Broncos. When I look at this defense for the Atlanta Falcons, you can't have major success against them, but it starts with going out there and trying to run the football and playing complementary football with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is battle-tested. I've seen this man go into Cincinnati and outgun Joe Burrow on the Monday Night Football game. I've seen him go out there and deal with pressure all day long, like how he did last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, he only got sacked once, but he was pressured on majority of his throws. He can make those plays inside and outside the pocket. Right now, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL by far, but this offensive line, you have to step up. I look at the front seven with the Atlanta Falcons. They have Caden Ellis at the linebacking spot, and they have Matthew Judon, who has started to put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback with Grady Jarrett. You have to protect him up front and let Jaden Daniels go out there and cook. One of his interceptions came across the middle of the field. It really wasn't on Jaden Daniels. He did throw a bad pass, but he could not set his feet. Due to him not being able to set his feet, the ball came out in a very weird way. He ended up taking a major hit, and it went for an interception. Little moments like that, an offensive line can help him out, and he can have a major strike down the field in the middle of the field to Zacchaeus. And speaking of Zacchaeus, last week, he led the team in receiving yards, 70 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, 5 catches on the day. Terry McLaurin was also a monster, 60 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. And we also have to remember this. In his first encounter against the Philadelphia Eagles, he only had 1 catch for 10 yards. Terry McLaurin is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And the reason why he was able to get more production last week, they were able to go out there and move him around inside the slot, have him as an outside wide receiver. In order for this team to go out there and have major success against the Atlanta Falcons, you have to be creative on the offensive end. And I would give Cliff Kingsbury a lot of credit. Since the bye week, the offense has looked better, but you want to go out there and make sure that you're consistent all the way through. Against the New Orleans Saints, they almost let them come back in that matchup. The offense dominated in the first half. In the second half, not so much. You don't want to get into a dogfight with the Atlanta Falcons. They are tough up front, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels, but I believe that he will be up to the task. It's going to be very fun to watch Cliff Kingsbury go against Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons, but Raheem Morris is a defensive head coach. He's giving a lot of defensive cues to Jimmy Lake over the last month, and it's been very fun to see both of these teams go out there and do their thing. When I look at the rest of the offense, you do have Brown. He had 4 catches, 56 receiving yards last week. Brian Robinson Jr., 2 catches, 17 receiving yards. Brian Robinson Jr. also had 24 rushing yards. He's not the same receiving threat as Austin Eckler. Not even close. Not even Jeremy McNichols is. So the rushing department, they may have some problems there, but I trust in the wide receivers to go out there and get open against the Atlanta Falcons. It just comes down to offensive line protection. Jaden Daniels is a superstar, and it's a great chance by the end of the night that the Washington Commanders will clinch an NFL playoff spot. But we will see, and this game got flexed into this position. Great move by the NFL. When I look at the defense for the Washington Commanders, last week they showed up. They had 1 interception on the day against Kenny Pickett. They slowed down Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley had a long run that went for 68 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He did have 150 rushing yards. The rushing department, in terms of stopping the run on the defensive side, I'm worried about them. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs in the NFL, and they also have Tyler Algier. You have to stop the run. Dan Quinn, his defenses historically, even back to the Atlanta Falcons, they have given up a lot of yards on the ground. And we saw that last year with the Dallas Cowboys. You have to make an effort to go out there and stop the run and move Michael Penix Jr. off his spot. When I look at the Commanders' front seven, you have Frankie Louvu, who is a do-it-all linebacker. He has 8 sacks on the season, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. Dante Fowler has been phenomenal this season. 9.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. Deron Payne is still one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL. Johnny Newton is holding things down as a rookie at that position alongside Deron Payne. But you have to stop the run. Make an emphasis on it. Coach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, has ran this offense through Bijan Robinson a lot over the last few weeks because Kirk Cousins was so bad. But we saw Michael Penix Jr. last week. He can move outside the pocket, and he can get the football to Bijan Robinson in a receiving role. You have to stop Bijan Robinson and send that blitz towards Michael Penix Jr. And the one problem that I have with Dan Quinn blitzes, if the running back has explosive speed, they can take off and get a big gain. That is what happened last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And we also saw the Steelers have good rushing success with Jaylen Warren. The Washington Commanders defense is better against power backs because their defense is so fast. But when they go against running backs, they have a lot of speed and they're able to one cut and make guys miss in space. That's when they deal with a lot of problems because they can move around. I like the defense of the Washington Commanders, but they have to go out there and fully put an emphasis on stopping the run. When I look at the secondary, Marshon Lattimore, he had a rough week last week against A.J. Brown. He had a lot of penalties on A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's having a lot of success. And not only just that, he tweaked his hamstring yet again. He's missed a good portion of this season dealing with a hamstring injury, and he's questionable for this matchup. Personally, if it's me, if he's not 100%, I would not play him in this game. You'll be going against Drake London and possibly Darnell Mooney, 2 very good wide receivers. When I look at Marshon Lattimore, he is still a very good cornerback to have, but you want to have him for the NFL playoffs, and that's why you made the trade to bring him over from the New Orleans Saints. He knows the Atlanta Falcons very well. He's a former player with the Saints. He played this team twice a year, but you don't want him to go out there and re-aggravate that injury and for him to be out for an extensive amount of time. Just be patient with Marshon Lattimore. If he's 100%, you play him. If not, you have Benjamin St. Juste at the cornerback position. You have Jeremy Chin at the strong safety position. And I look at Mike in the nickel spot. The cornerbacks have been solid this year. They just give up a lot of big plays here and there. When I look at this situation with the Commanders, you have a top passing defense in the NFL, but you give up a lot of splash plays. I can see Drake London going out there and possibly struggling, but a guy like Darnell Mooney, he's going to take the top off this defense if you're not careful. And Drake London can also do that as well. So just pay attention to that. I like the Washington Commanders in this matchup, but this is a true test. This is basically a playoff game for both teams. Now, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons and Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. came out last week and helped the New York Giants go out there and secure the first overall pick, because Michael Penix Jr. went out there and he balled against the Giants. They won this game 34-7. Michael Penix Jr. was 18-27 on the day, 202 passing yards. He did not throw for a passing touchdown. He did throw for an interception, but it was not on him. Kyle Pitts basically lateraled the football to the defender. The ball just came out of his hand. Kyle Pitts has to be better in this matchup. In this game against the Washington Commanders, run this offense through Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson has been phenomenal this season, and it's great to see because last season under Arthur Smith, his rookie season, he did have some struggles, but you saw the potential there. This is why they selected him in the first round. Bijan Robinson last week against the New York Giants, 94 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Tyler Algier had 22 rushing yards. Run this football against the Washington Commanders and make life easy on Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. is not going to go out there and run around. He is not known for his mobility. He is known for his smooth passes and getting himself out of a jam with his legs. I don't expect for Michael Penix Jr. to move around much in this matchup. If the Washington Commanders do blitz, do not be surprised if Michael Penix Jr. rolls out to the left and he makes a magical pass across his body. He's done that before with Washington when he was in college, and he has done a lot of that in the past in the preseason. I expect for Michael Penix Jr. to possibly go out there and have a big game, getting the football to Drake London and to Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney last week, 5 catches, 82 receiving yards. Drake London, 59 receiving yards. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Dan Quinn goes out there and how he tries to pressure Michael Penix, because it's not that much film on Michael Penix Jr. He had cleanup duty against the Denver Broncos. He didn't play much in that matchup. He didn't play much in the preseason. You can go back to college and try to scout and see what his tendencies are, but college is different from the NFL. And last week, He was just smooth and in control. Yes, you win against a bad New York Giants team, but a win is a win, and it's an NFL team at the end of the day. The offense went out there. They took care of business. Just run this offense through Bijan Robinson. Make sure that Michael Penix Jr. is comfortable and run off a play action. Michael Penix Jr. was one of the best quarterbacks with play action in college. Better than Caleb Williams, better than Jaden Daniels, and better than Bo Nix. And it's the reason why he helped lead that team to the national championship against Michigan. Offensive line play is going to be key in this matchup, but I think Michael Penix Jr. may go out there and shock some people. I can see him possibly having 2 to 3 passing touchdowns in this matchup if the Commanders are not careful. It's hard to go out there and try to put a lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback when you're a defensive coordinator, especially when a guy hasn't played that much in his rookie season. You don't know what his tendencies are, and you have to take it from a drive-by-drive situation. Drive-by-drive scenario, excuse me. When I look at the defense for the Atlanta Falcons, they have been balling over the last few weeks. Over the last month, this defense has been very good. Their defense has stepped up. They have now become a top rushing defense in the NFL, and they're starting to put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback with Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon has 4.5 sacks on the season, and he had a pick 6 last week against Drew Lock. You have to find a way to go out there and overwhelm Jaden Daniels, but it's going to start with contained coverage. You don't want Jaden Daniels to go out there and use his legs the entire game. That's when he breaks down defenses, and it's going to be hard for the secondary to keep up. When I look at the secondary play, Jesse Bates is still one of the best safeties in the NFL. 4 forced fumbles on the season, 4 interceptions, 10 pass deflections. He is phenomenal, and he had a great play last week against the New York Giants. The defense really helped them go out there and seal the deal against the Giants, but Michael Penix Jr. kept the football out of harm's way until Kyle Pitts threw the football to the defender. When I look at this defense, put a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels and do what the Steelers did. They put a lot of pressure off the edge and through the interior. I'm looking at Grady Jarrett in this matchup. If he can go out there and have a big day with David Onyemata, it's a great chance you could possibly win this game. You want to neutralize his offense, stop the run game, and make sure that he does not take those deep shots down the field to Zacchaeus and also to Terry McLaurin. And speaking of Terry McLaurin, A.J. Terrell, I hope that he's ready. A.J. Terrell is a very good cornerback. He's the number 1 cornerback right now with the Atlanta Falcons. They're paying him a lot of money for matchups like this. I would put him in one-on-one situations with Terry McLaurin all day long because he has the potential to go out there and stick with him the entire game. I'm not saying just single out Terry McLaurin because you have to worry about Zacchaeus and other weapons also. But when I look at the Washington Commanders, you don't have your top running back in Austin Eckler. You may be one-dimensional going against this Falcons defense, and this is what they're going to want. The strength of this defense is their secondary, not their front 7, even though they have played better over the last few weeks. And Arnold has went out there and he has recorded 5 sacks on the season. He looked good last week, and he has also looked better since that bye week. The pass rushes are starting to hit home for the Washington Commanders, and this is a very good athletic bunch. The pass rush is starting to hit home for the Atlanta Falcons, and it's starting to go out there and dictate how they will look moving forward. And when I talked about the playoff scenarios earlier in the video, if the Commanders go out there and they win this game, they make the NFL playoffs automatically. But the Falcons have the chance to go out there and control their own destiny. They win this game against the Washington Commanders and they win next week, they will make the NFL playoffs because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost last week against the Dallas Cowboys. So this is a must-win game for the Atlanta Falcons and for the Washington Commanders. With that being said, I can see the Commanders winning this game, but I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons will go out there and win this matchup 28-24. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The Washington Commanders or the Atlanta Falcons? And another reason why I have the Falcons going out there and winning this matchup, they went out there and they lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers did not score an offensive touchdown in that game. They lost that matchup because of Kirk Cousins. And that game was still close, and Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions in that matchup. Majority of their losses on the back end this season has been because of bad quarterback play. If Michael Penix Jr. takes care of the football and the wide receivers can just hold on to the football, it's a great chance that the Atlanta Falcons will go out there and win this game. But it can go either way. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the Washington Commanders or the Atlanta Falcons? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.